Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bring It On. Let's go check on the Navigator.
Death, I hear it. Here, on the threshold of the blinded guide, doom comes from the heavens.
Master, watch your head.
Combat roll.
Idira, would it be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Abelard grumbles as he dusts himself off and grips his weapon again.
Sorry, old man. Their voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abelard, how they sing.
The woman bursts into guttural, drunken laughter.
This is Idira Tlas, personal psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship Theodora von Valancius. Idira?
Abelard looks her up and down.
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate, to die in the waves of the immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn, and in the roaring blaze I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer.
The entity in your consciousness shrinks and crawls in deeper, its claws scraping against the walls of your mind, as if the presence is trying to hide from the seer standing before you. A diviner, are you?
The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud.
Idira nods, yet her gaze is directed somewhere away from you.
And you are von Valancius, one of Lady Theodora's heirs. Well then, we finally meet.
Idira turns her head to you, her vacant eyes flaring like embers.
Officer's frequency. To all who can hear me, those with a weapon in their hands are to gather on the officer's deck at once. I repeat, gather on the officer's deck at once and prepare to launch a counterattack.
You hear a few clicks from the relays on the servo skull, which has followed you all the way here, and Theodora's scrambled words give way to a voice vaguely familiar to you.
That's Edelthrat. Oh, Emperor's Providence. The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelthrat's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
Blast it. You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
Abelard spits out a florid curse. How do you know who I am?
What? You think Lady Theodora didn't ask me to peek into the darkness behind the backs of those she sees as her prospective heirs? I have seen you. I have seen the footsteps of your past and the wounds of your heart.
Idira laughs in a deep voice. The seer's words bring you back a wave of memories of the bitter, humiliating moments of your greatest shame. Something sour rushes to your tongue, and your head is clouded with a sickening sense of your own worthlessness. What are you doing here?
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the Navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the engineerium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master Cog, and the silence that followed.
What? You don't mean the Enginseer Prime is...
Dead, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the Navigator Sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the Navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks.
We must see if the Navigator is well.
Oh no. No. Nothing is well about him. Can't you feel the chill crawling on your skin? The eyes watching you? The warp ice has already encased the bulkheads. What follows is calamity. But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive.
Adira freezes, as she slaps her cheeks, rubs her face, and looks at you. The supernatural glow is gone from her eyes, and a smirk spreads across her lips. A fallen piece of debris that almost proved fatal to you. Without Adira's prediction, you would have remained in this corridor forever.
I always have a backup plan.
It's a pretty neat mechanic. You can have her... When she's in your party, she can give you little premonitions about what's about to happen. Alright, real quick, let's take a look at our companions. So we have Abelard, who is dogmatic. So belief in the holiness and infallibility of the laws of the Imperium. Adherence to the precepts of the God Emperor and the Holy Chosen Ones, carrying out his will to the ignorant and unruly masses. Unfettered hatred of the enemies of mankind, be they traitors, heretics, Xenos, or servants of chaos. Actually, I'm sorry, he's mostly iconoclast, partially dogmatic. Belief in the value of human life and freedom. Faith in the power of goodwill, capable of overcoming the horrors and dangers of the universe without the need for artificial prohibitions. The desire to seek out common ground and compromise rather than uncompromising destruction. And Adira is heretical. Devotion to the corruption and taint of the warp, through total submission to the basest and darkest impulses of the soul, or constant worship of the ancient gods of the Immaterium. Oh, we've already seen Abelard's features. He is a warrior, which we've also seen with my main character. Then Adira. She is an operative. An operative uses intelligence and perception to find and exploit weaknesses in an enemy's defenses. None can withstand an attack from an operative. A core focus, precise single attacks, defense penetration, area debuffs, consistent firing position. And then she has Analyze Enemies, which we saw Voidfarer using earlier. The operative targets one enemy with a line of sight. That target immediately gains +2 exploits. So exploits. If the operative hits a target with an exploit stack, the attack deals percentage more damage based on perception. The damage is also increased by 10% for each exploit on the target. The attack removes all exploits from the target. And forewarning. The Psyker increases the target's dodge and parry by 10% until the end of combat. And Psychic Streak deals from 7 to 16 damage to the target. What do we have equipped? So Abelard has a chainsword, Seneschal's trusty carapace. Doesn't have a unique effect. Then Adira has an armored body glove, a psychic staff, so the wielder of this staff, power level 6, gains a lightning arc ability. Power level affects the damage of this power, it also grants +5 willpower. And a last pistol. Hurry! Destroy this field. Don't keep our master waiting.
Hold on! Chaos guides me!
But of course. Farewell.
Now you have to be careful with using any Psyker abilities, because you have Perils of the Warp right here, or Veil Degradation. And when Psykers reach deeper into the Warp to power their abilities, there is always a chance of the Imperium bleeding into our reality, a factor that is invariably destructive and damaging. At the beginning of combat, Veil Degradation usually starts at 0. Veil Degradation increases by 1 for each use of a minor psychic power, and by 3 for each use of a major psychic power. It decreases by 1 each round.
Anything else?
I've seen worse battles than this in my time. It will be done. At your beck and call.
Out of my way!
The creature in the chair appears as if it has become one with its throne. You see pink, parchment-like skin stretched between the seat and the limbs that have too many joints for a normal human being. The Navigator is breathing heavily. They are whistling as it exits through the 2 dark, gill-like slits on its cheeks. The creature's eyes are shut, the 2 ordinary eyes as well as the 3rd one that sits in the center of its forehead.
I believe Master Vespider still lives. The servants are dead, but the chamber, thank the Emperor, is still sealed from the warp. Well, we have a chance of leaving this place alive.
Abelard flinches at the sight of the stretched skin and the dark marks on the face of the creature. Address Adira. What is wrong with him?
Wounded. Exhausted. Fighting back the endless horrors of the warp that are forcing their way into his head. Pick one.
Adira winces.
Your time is short.
The Navigator stirs, barely able to lift his head and half open his normal eyes. A dark drop rolls him under the closed lid of the 3rd eye and down his face, leaving behind a black trail. Your time... Oh, sorry, I already read that. The voice is coming from the Vox grill at the base of the bizarre chair. It is unclear how the Navigator is able to produce human speech. Our time is short to do what?
Fall to your knees, mortals, and behold the final dawn.
Suddenly, the Navigator's body starts thrashing in place. It lurches forward, then falls back onto the seat, then thrusts forward again as its bones crack and its skin tears open. However... Sorry, I got distracted by my servo skull talking. However, the fusion between the body and the chair appears to be stronger than these wild impetuses. The mutant remains seated, but leans as far forward as he can, his layered raiment slowly turning crimson. The gill slits burst open, forming 2 hideous screaming mouth-like pits.
Ah! It came from beyond! His body is not his!
Adira shrieks in terror. Adira's scream is echoed by the silent cries in your head. The unseen creature triumphs at the sight of the Navigator succumbing to the paroxysms of corruption.
Its march thunders under the burden of hopes. Unseal your hearts, and I will flood your souls with myriads of words and meanings, each one a portent of salvation within me.
The Navigator continues to convulse violently in his seat, shrieking and cackling, but then his fit stops abruptly. His face is drenched in black and crimson. The dark ooze from under his 3rd eyelid has turned from a trickle into a stream mixed with the blood coming out of his nose, and there's purplish swelling around the eye.
Run. Flee from this place while I still have the strength. I can contain the intrusion, but not for long. We must begin the translation. leave the warp. But it can't be done without the Master Helmsman's help.
The words come out of the Vox as a labored rattle. Who torments you?
The Edge.
Kneel before the ascent of a new champion. When the rite is complete, the shell will burst, and thousands of Moors will accept the sacrifice offered to the edge of daybreak by the bringer of twilight, the one marked by the will of the gods.
The Navigator starts thrashing about once more. His gill mouth is bursting with crazed laughter. Each word rings through your head like the tolling of a bell, as if countless voices have joined in, screaming into your ears. For a moment, you lose your bearings. This unholy chorus must be trying to confound you with sounds not meant for this world. Address your companions. What is that supposed to mean?
A rite. A sacrifice offered. Oh, my heart tells me that Kunrad was not deterred by his defeat in the warrant chamber.
What? Kunrad betrayed Lady Theodora? Oh, but how is that? How? He was as loyal as a dog. And I didn't hear a thing, I swear.
Adira clutches her head.
The footfalls of the bringer of twilight are veiled by the will of his masters. Tear out your eyes. She who is to become the champion's servant, for you need them no longer.
The Navigator, or rather the thing that is so determined to seize his body, erupts into mocking laughter. I cannot bear to see his agony any longer. I'd rather put an end to it.
You can't! It's only thanks to Master Vespidas that we're still alive. If he falls, this whole ship is doomed. Let him do his duty. You know it's the last thing he'll ever do. If he lasts that long.
She catches her breath. I want to help you. Tell me how.
Run. The sanctum will be sealed. I will hold it off. Hold on. And wait for the signal from the Master Helmsman. Then I will commence the translation. So, run. Run.
The Navigator takes a ragged breath. Address Abelard. The Navigator is still alive, but barely so. What do we do now?
The ship can only begin the translation with the assistance of the Master Helmsman, if he is still alive. It is worth a try. We must get to the bridge, but we will need support. Our only option is to fight our way to the officer's deck and join forces with Edelthrad and his people. I believe we will also find Lady Theodora there. She must have heard the call to arms that the servo skull relayed to us earlier.
The Seneschal gazes at the figure in the chair.
Vespidas, good luck. And thank you.
Adira reaches her hand out toward the Navigator, but pulls it back at the last moment. The Navigator does not give her a response. Black tears mixed with blood are streaming from under the closed eyelids, and the Vox at the base of the chair is bellowing out static interspersed with distant echoes of otherworldly laughter. The Navigator appears dead. Only the slight movement of his chest and the twitching of his eyelids let you know that he is still clinging to life.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
The Navigator Sanctum is the private haven of the ship's guide through the warp, and a death trap for anyone left inside after translation to the Immaterium. Which we're currently at. That's why they pointed out that his third eye was closed.
Let us not dawdle.
The door does not budge. Pots of viscous flesh have entangled the metal, sealing the door shut.
ship's as good as ours. It's all over for you.
I shall pity not your enemies. I shall heed not their pleas.
Somebody shoot this.
Shall betray not your tenets, nor stray one step from them. Take not your gaze from me. Leave me not without your grace.
I told you he would protect us.
My God, my light, my Emperor.
The white-haired warrior turns to face you, her dark eyes blazing. The weapon quivers in her hand, and for a brief moment, it seems she is not going to stop once they continue eliminating every target she sees, starting with you.
Sister Argenta! Sister Argenta, it is a relief to see you. We require all the forces we can muster.
The Seneschal's voice seems to bring the warrior out of her battle trance.
Your face, it is unfamiliar. Who are you?
The young woman called Argenta lowers her weapon and scans your small party with an intense gaze. Then she sets her sights on you. Donnie Dawson von Valancius, the Lord Captain's heir.
The hour is dark and daunting. Ship abounds with corruption. The faces of friends are twisted by sneers of heresy. The eyes of comrades ignite with the arch-enemy's hunger. I will do what I must to halt the advance of the dark forces. But in these dire moments, little can be trusted. So I must know, why are you here?
Argenta gives you another stern appraisal. You catch something strange in the dark depths of her eyes. Some internal struggle or wordless question. In the end, however, she nods.
Sister, I beg of you. Now is not the time for interrogations. The ship is under attack by heretics. We've been betrayed by our esteemed Master of Whispers. Edelthrad the Heir is waiting for our aid, and Lord Captain Theodora is expecting a report on our success. We are here to deal with the situation, so I suggest we all do just that.
Abelard appears to be losing his patience. I'm no traitor, sister. You can be sure of that.
If you speak truthfully, the Emperor will not forsake you. If you are lying, you will not escape his retribution. I cannot wait to rain righteous fire down upon each and every heretic.
What is a warrior of the Adeptus Sororitas doing aboard a rogue trader's ship? Your orders serve the Ecclesiarchy, do they not?
Sister Argenta is a guest of the Lord Captain. And that story deserves its own time and conversation. Under more appropriate circumstances.
Abelard shoots her a quick glance.
Enough idle chatter. I am where I must be, and that will suffice.
Who are these people with you?
Overseer of Middle Deck Ale 84, my lord. We were rounding up everyone we could find in the attack compartments when we ran into an ambush. Just about every enforcer fell. These are the survivors.
What is happening on the officer's deck?
Massacre, my lord. And heretics are not just killing the crew. Some kind of blight is sweeping through the decks, filling the air. I saw people going mad the moment they breathed it in, screaming about seeing their dead comrades, tearing out their eyes. I implore you, my lord, be on your guard.
We must get to the main hall of the deck.
Through this door. I shall join you, for it is my duty to the God Emperor to destroy this heresy.
Argenta nods at the passage to your right.
We will follow. For now, we will hold off any heretics who might try to crawl in through the cracks to join the main assault. And we'll take a look at the generators while we're at it. Those villains made a mess of the cables. Oh, I wish we had a Tectomat with us. But we'll see what we can do without one.
Good to hear it. Sister?
Ready. May Terra's light illuminate our path through fire and darkness.
So Terra is the capital of the Imperium. It's also just Earth. Generators hum softly. When you draw closer, your skin begins to tingle from static discharges.
I always keep my options open.
Double check back here. The explosion blasted a hole through the door, large enough for a person to get through. Ah, a shield. And a sword Mazoa pattern. Perfect. So we can go and equip that. So shields allow the wielder to block attacks. The first use of shield bash in a turn costs 0 AP. Fantastic. Seven to 11 versus 5 to 7. It's probably worth using that instead. Argenta. She has a mesh chestplate. Unfading Valor. This Godwin pattern bolter was given to Sister Argenta on the day she took her vows to join the Order of the Martyred Lady. Unfortunately, despite its illustrious name, the gleam of its metal has dulled after years of travel and encounters with horrors untold. The sacred prayers engraved on the barrel have been worn smooth in places. With every shot it fires, another spark goes out in the halo of sanctity that surrounds this noble weapon. And an auto pistol, which is important to take note of later. That'll come up in the story. Alright, so she's dogmatic. Obviously, she's a sister of battle. She's a soldier, so she has run and gun. The soldier gains plus 4 MP. The next attack costs minus 1 AP less, and does not count toward the attack limit per turn. To the end of the next turn, the soldier becomes winded. While winded, the soldier suffers a minus 10 penalty to ballistic skill, and cannot use run and gun. And Furious Recital grants momentum equal to 6. This ability also grants an additional 3 momentum for each enemy that is either in a 5-cell radius around the Sister of Battle, or was hit by her this turn. The Sister of Battle hits a demon or chaos cultist. The additional amount of momentum doubles. Oh, sorry, I didn't look at her talents, just the active ability. And a soldier. A soldier is a master of all ranged weapons, quickly able to assume an advantageous position, where they stand ready to rain fire on the enemy. While well trained on a highly diverse range of arms, a soldier is particularly proficient at blasting their targets with burst fire and area weapons. And then core focus, movement and range attacks, cover and dodge, burst fire, area attacks. And her ultimate ability is Firearm Mastery. The soldier gains the ability to make a number of extra attacks equal to their weapon's rate of fire, minimum 2, using the weapon attack that normally costs the least AP. These attacks do not spend AP. Till the end of the soldier's turn, their first attack against each new enemy automatically scores a critical hit. The soldier immediately reloads their current weapon. And the Desperate Measure version is very similar. And starting from the next round and until the end of combat, the soldier's AP are reduced by minus 1. Is that? Yeah, that's right. And Adira's, we didn't look at her ultimate ability. Dismantling Attack. The operative immediately inflicts 1 exploit on all enemies in combat that makes a free attack against a target. That attack always hits. Until the end of combat, the target of this attack suffers a minus 30% penalty to armor, block, dodge, and parry. And then you just have the second weapon, Dismantling Attack, same thing. But the Desperate Measure, until the end of combat, the operative's attacks cost plus 1 AP more. Yeah, I think we'll look at the talents next time.
Is there money to be made?
More junk to sell. The door will not move an inch. It is blocked. Alright, well, I'm going to call it here. Next time we'll continue pushing through the ship with our 2 new companions. We'll take a look at everybody's talents before we get go through this door. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.